Welcome to the Sustainable Dish Podcast. I'm Diana Rogers, a real food registered dietitian, author, and sustainability advocate. I co-host this podcast with James Connolly, who was a producer on my film, Sacred Cow. I also founded the Global Food Justice Alliance, an initiative advocating for the inclusion of animal-sourced foods like meat, dairy, and eggs for a more nutritious, sustainable, and equitable worldwide food system. You can check it out and join me at globalfoodjustice.org. Thanks again for listening, and now on to our show. Too many of us overlook the role of collagen when it comes to having strong bones. Beyond healthy skin, nails, and hair, collagen fortifies your health in several important ways. I want you to learn more about the importance of collagen, so I'm sending my community to review an article from a brand I trust, Native Path. Learn 7 reasons why each of us should be consuming more collagen at sustainabledish.com/restore. And stick around for how you can save as much as 45% off Native Path collagen later in this episode. Everyone, today I have with me Gareth Wyn Jones. I have been following you, Gareth, for quite a long time, many years. You're quite outspoken about the importance of grazing animals on the land. And from what I've seen, your farm is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, just with the ocean behind it. Maybe you could start off by just telling people a little bit about like where you are in the world, what it looks like on your farm. I mean, we'll include some links so people can see some of your videos as well. And then how long you've been there and, all about your background.
Yeah. Well, how long have you got? You're going to need more than 45 minutes for that. My name's Gareth Wyn Jones. I'm a hill farmer here in a place called Llanfairpwllgwyngyllgogerychwr in North Wales. It's on Eryri, and the Carneddau are part of Eryri, which is translated into English. They call it Snowdonia, but it's not a real translation. Eryri is the Welsh name, because Welsh is my first language. English is my second language. And I use my Welsh language every single day with my family and my wife and things. So it's a big part of our daily routine is our language, our lifestyle. My family's been on this farm 375 years when records began in the parish. I believe in regenerative agriculture, sustainable food production, and sharing that story as well with other people. Because I do feel sometimes that agriculture, and especially livestock agriculture, is targeted by mainstream media, and some people who have the power tend to point the finger at farmers and farming for the so-called climate crisis. But I sit on my mountain and I, heft my sheep into their beautiful areas where we have some of the rarest flora and fauna, some of the rarest wildlife on the biggest open space of mountain in England and Wales, which is the Carneddau, 27,000 acres. But then I look above me and aeroplanes flying, hundreds of ships out on the sea in front of me waiting to go into Liverpool and Holyhead, and thousands of cars travelling up and down the A55 and all over the country. So, it's easy to point the finger at the farmers while you've got a belly full of food. And that's what frustrates me. And I want to see a future for my children doing what I did, following in my father's footsteps. I always wanted to go into agriculture. I love shooting, hunting, fishing, growing my own food. And as a farmer, I love nature. I love to see the first swallow coming and hearing the first cuckoo, seeing the first leaves coming on the trees and seeing the first leaves fall. We live every single day with nature, with the seasons, and it's not a job, it's a way of life. So I want to share that with people. I want to engage with people. I want to open conversations, and I hopefully want to educate people that want to learn about my lifestyle and my beliefs. And, farmers are there for a reason. people would have always had connections with the land. Now, 85 or 86% of people live in cities. They've lost that connection with the land. They've lost that connection with nature. And sometimes they can be misinformed and misled to think, they don't need a farmer, that they can live on processed foods, produce that nothing dies. But one of the messages I try to put over every single day is that nothing comes for nothing. So every time we sit down for a meal, something will die. And that doesn't matter if you're flexitarian, vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, pescatarian, something will die for you to eat every day. And that's a fact because I know, because I don't just, produce livestock. I as well grow my own veg. And I know there'll be more creatures dying for my veg and my fruit and my salads to get on my plate than it will be for the meat. And sometimes people don't like to hear that.
Well, so I've been to Wales, and one thing I noticed was that it's much more like small towns and much more like countryside than some of the uh, other places I've been where there's like either big cities and then, suburbs and then, rural life. It seemed much more kind of like sm- small towns integrated into the country. Do you think Wales is that a fair assessment, or do you still think there's like in a lot of places I've been, there's a huge divide between urban and rural, where urban people think rural people are too simple and not intelligent and all that. Do you see that happening in Wales too? I'm curious.
Well, you have got cities, quite big cities in Wales as well, to be honest with you. You've got Wrexham in North Wales, you've got Bangor as well. But when you go south, there's a lot of cities that are down there, Cardiff, Swansea, Pontypool, Llanelli, all these are quite big areas. There's more people down the south. There's only 3 million people in Wales. That's the population. So it's not a big country, but it's a beautiful country. We have a lot to offer. And for many, many years, the main, income was coal, slates up north here, but agriculture as well. And agriculture has kept our Welsh language with religion, with the chapels and the way people, were taught from a young age. So, I feel proud of what we do. We've hemorrhaged a lot of people out of our industry over the last 20, 30 years. And it's frustrating. I think there is a divide, yeah, and I think the further you go into your London inner circle, the more far removed they are from food production, farming, and everything that goes with it. So if we can bridge that gap, and I think this is important, as an industry, farmers have been a little bit, and I'm one of them for many years, that we stuck our heads in the sand and just carried on. This is our job. We've produced food affordably, in the best way we can. But that's something that we have to really look at. We have to add value to the products that we're producing, because we're business people. We have to be accountants. We have to be electricians. We have to be plumbers. We have to be vets, because we can't afford to bring people into our farm every day. We have to be a jack of all trades. And it's difficult. It's very, very difficult. We have massive suicidal rates in the industry. We're losing people, with mental health. And there's a lot of pressure coming from supermarkets, coming from government policies. So I want to take a positive. My hashtag on my social media is living the dream, because I do believe I'm living the dream. Because I wake up every morning to a beautiful wife next to me. I look outside my window to the best office view in the world. I have a way of life that I love, working with my father and my son every single day, 7 days a week. It's a way of life that not a lot of people have that opportunity, growing my own food. And, if we haven't got something, I can go out and shoot it. If we want a rabbit or squirrel burgers even, we can go out and grow it. And my fridge, my freezer are full of our own produce. And it's a great place to be. And, our health is our wealth. And what we feed ourselves in the long run is going to give us longevity. And I think, again, mental health, physical health is to do with what we're putting into our bodies. So for me, that physicality and that mental strength comes from what I eat and what I do. And that's why I want to push my story. And I think maybe that brings into a little bit of the context of why I've got over 1 million followers on my YouTube channel. Why? And that's been done in about 4 months. And why my Facebook page is absolutely flying. I do less on Twitter now, to be honest with you, Diane, because I don't find it the same as what it was before this new X. I just don't get it. So I move away from places I don't feel happy with, or I don't feel my message is being portrayed in the right way. And we've moved on to TikTok as well. We've got over 100,000 followers on. I never thought I'd be saying this, but I'm a part of the TikTok generation now at 56. But it's important we are on these platforms. We are there as part of the industry, teaching people what we're doing, what we're producing, how it's produced. Because there's millions of farmers across the world that are there looking for a new customer, looking for the consumer, looking for a fair price, looking for a future for their children on them farms. And if we don't fight for it, we will lose it, because there's a lot of government policy, a lot of people that are trying to take them rights away from us and away from the consumer. They want you eating gloop from some factory somewhere. That's my opinion. And I want people having the opportunity to have a choice of what they want to eat. Something that's been produced in an ethical, sustainable, and, good way.
What kind of I have two questions. One is, what policies have you seen? I've heard of some things in Wales, especially with carbon offsets and farmland being taken out of food production to have monocrop trees planted on it to offset the carbon emissions from airlines and things like that. But what have you seen? And also, have your kids encountered anything at their local schools?
Oh, my children are a little bit older. The youngest has just gone to university uh,
Okay.
last week. So, yeah, my eldest is 25. So, no, they haven't encountered it really. But, I've just done an interview with a Welsh television channel. It'll be on tonight. And one council, so one borough council, Flintshire, have decided to have a meat-free Monday once a month. And look, I don't take away anybody's personal choice, but I do get annoyed when these dictators come in and take away people's choice to eat what they want. Because some of these children might be the only good meal that they get every single day. Could be school. So taking that away, I think what's important as well is that they're trying to plant a seed in these children's head. These are the next generation. Like meat-free Monday is so good for the environment. Yeah, that's what they're trying to sell while they're flying avocados in from Mexico, green beans from Kenya. Yeah, come on. Let's start eating globally. No, let's start eating seasonally. If you want to teach a child a story, be honest about it. Don't be disingenuous. Cows and sheep aren't the problem. Let's bring it back to basics. We have got a temperate climate in this country, and that temperate climate, with 70% of our land being marginal, is great to grow grass. So if you can't tell that story to the next generation, there's something wrong with you. And that's what I want to do. And if they want to choose to be vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, whatever, that's their choice. But don't force it, and don't misguide them to think that this meat-free Monday is going to save the planet. And that's what's frustrating for me as a farmer, is these things. And these ideas are coming from the top, not just, infiltrated from mediocre people. This is coming from the top. Oxford University's done it. There's a few other, Cornwall Council tried to do it, and they got blown out of the water. And now Cornwall Council has turned everything around fantastically well, and they're eating seasonal, local food, and everything's from the area. Well, that's how it should be. We should be bringing the food in from wherever we live. That's what we used to do, not ship it and cart it everywhere. And if we can teach that to the next generation, then we've won. So that's why I feel so strongly, and that's why I've done this interview today, is to tell people, no, Don't be dictated. You have a freedom of choice to eat what you want. Don't let people misguide you and mislead you to thinking you're going to save the world by not eating meat.
Yeah, I find so here in the US we have Meatless Mondays, and there's a website, and there's quite a bit of propaganda that they have on this website, and it's wrong, including livestock produces more greenhouse gases than the entire transportation sector. That is absolutely false.
Yeah.
There's another one that says that your hamburger patty is 10 bathtubs full of
Yeah.
water.
But they don't say it's rainwater, do they? That's the
Yes, exactly.
we took Welsh water up on it, and we won. They had to take it down because it was exactly the same message they were spinning, and that is wrong. That's where they mislead people. Um, yeah, it's informative, but it's misleading. It is misleading because half of that, or three quarters, and it's only 2% of the water that produced that patty would have come from a tap. The rest came from God Himself up above us, and it came in rain. And they're the things we need to challenge. So, I've got to congratulate you as well. You do some great work, and love the book, that you sent me many, many moons ago. So, yeah, we go back a long way, and I think we're on the same path. And literally, I do believe people are beginning to listen. People are beginning to wake up and smell the coffee. And going forward, you know, we've got to be careful that we don't sleepwalk into food shortages worldwide. Look at what's happening in the Ukraine. Look at what's happening in a lot of places. And I can't remember who the politician was, but he said, "You control the food and you control the people." And there's a lot of truth in that. And yeah, I think sometimes, you can see this, how governments are talking about eating less meat and producing less, growing more trees. Our country now is in the consultation that they want 10% of every farm going into tree planting and to offset carbon. Well, I disagree with it, and it's not that I'm against trees, because I planted 40 here last year, and they were all fruit trees, and then fruit trees will be feeding my children and my grandchildren. These are the things that we need to start to get out there. And another thing that really gets my goat is, they're saying that trees are going to be saving the earth. Well, yeah, trees are here for a reason, but they are not going to be sequencing carbon after you've planted them for at least 10 years. And they don't talk about how much carbon sequenced already in the grasslands. They don't talk about that. So again, it's misleading, it's misguiding, and people are being sucked in. They are like sheep following these people, into destruction and hunger, in my opinion. We need food security, we need energy security, and we can do this in all our own countries because we've done it before. We've fed our nation, but we've got a growing world population, 8 billion, and on its way up. And I think if we don't be very, very careful, we could go hungry very, very quickly.
I'm picking up where I left off earlier about collagen. Native Path Collagen is a brand that you can trust, and it's the collagen that I personally use and I recommend as a dietitian. I've noticed a big improvement in my hair, skin, and nails since I've started using this collagen supplement, and I've noticed that my joints feel a lot better too. Sourced from only pasture-raised bovine hide, Native Path has only one ingredient, and it's 100% hydrolyzed. Every scoop of Native Path grass-fed collagen is consistently formulated with 10 grams of the highest quality grass-fed type 1 and type 3 collagen, which make up 90% of the collagen in your body. Native Path collagen is completely flavorless and blends smooth into any liquid, hot or cold. Get Native Path collagen as low as 45% off plus free shipping. Just head to sustainabledish.com/nativepath to get this deal and to start restoring your health with Native Path grass-fed collagen.
I think what we're hearing, and of course I have my own opinions on this too, but I'd love for everyone to hear your thoughts. What we're hearing is that there's going to be more food sovereignty and more better food security if we just allow these large corporations to produce our proteins instead of uh, farmers directly. I don't see how that's possible. I don't know why. What
It's like the
your
fight.
opinions are why governments are backing these ideas. Why do you think governments are backing this meat-free ideas?
Well, because it's going to take the power away from the people that have that power, and that's what they want to control. Look at the oil industry. They lift them prices and drop them prices as they want. They have the power in their hands. It's a few people with immense. You imagine if they take the last thing that a lot of people have got, which is food, away from the farmer and put it into factories. That's it. That's everything gone. And if you're going to ask me, what do I think of it? I think it's a disaster waiting to happen. And if we don't start to stand up and start to have a farming food revolution in this country, because we can see what happened in the Netherlands. They were trying to take their farms away. They were trying to take the people away from the land that they produce over nitrate levels. Something similar in the States now. It's happening on a global problem. Same in New Zealand. We're seeing some things across Europe again now, catching up again, more protests. But this all depends on the public. It all depends on the consumer. They have to say no. They have to vote the right people. And that's what they did in the Netherlands. They made their own, political party and got into power because things can change. Things can change overnight. We need to build, a better world on our bellies, and it has to be done together. And I think if we don't look at the land and the farmers, because these people have got skill sets, these are generational skill sets that no factory corporation's going to be able to do. They will just come in and they will rape and pillage that land. We have been on this land for 375 years, and I will tell you, one of the ethos of our family is to leave the land in a better state than we're given it. We're only custodians. We never own it. We come with nothing, we go with nothing. But we can leave a stamp. We can leave something behind for the next generation. And food production is one of the most important things that we have in life because
Hmm.
everybody's going to need to eat every single day. So everybody on God's earth is going to need a farmer every single day, unless corporations take over and start producing junk, processed food out of whatever they're going to, make money out and start making people even sicker than they are now. We've seen it with the sugar epidemic, overweight, people with diabetes. It's happened in the States, it's happening over here. We have to address it. We have to be honest with each other. And we are what we eat, like I've said earlier. And if we can start to teach the next generation how to eat properly, how to cook properly, how to move away from processed rubbish and, your chicken nuggets and all that crap, sorry, and start to get them, eating proper food, their future will be bright mentally and physically for a longer time.
What else are you seeing? I'm just back from a trip in Uruguay where I visited with ranchers, and like Wales, Uruguay is best suited. It's largely grasslands, marginal land. It is very well suited to cattle grazing. I met with a lot of ranchers there who are, trying to heal the land through the grazing. They are making much less money per acre, per hectare than they could be if they uh, produce soybeans or rented it to somebody to do soybeans or just sold it to someone who wanted a country house, right? What are you
Yeah.
seeing with land use and is there any push for farmers to be selling their land instead of farming it the way they've been doing it?
Yeah, there's some big corporations, there's some big, companies coming in and buying swathes of land. We're losing a lot of land to solar farms as well. I think that could be a problem because, not that I'm against solar, I think solar's great, but we've got enough industrial roof space and roof space commercially across the UK, we don't need to use, good land or even marginal land for the job.
It's not a
Because
terribly sunny place either, right?
no, but there's a lot of ask for it. There's solar is coming into the realm, and you don't need that much sun. I've seen quite a few people. There's a farm down the road here that's just put a big solar unit on his farm, and he's producing energy and being paid for it. It was a big investment, but it's going to pay back in about 15 years, he said.
Okay.
So that's good for me, but it has to be done in a way that's sustainable. So when these big corporations come in and buy 6 or 7 thousand acres and start to talk about putting big solar farms, no, let's not do that. It's great out in deserts where nothing else is going to be living, but not in land like this. We need this land. We need this land, and you know as good as me how important ruminants are. So for me on this farm, if we didn't have the cows, I couldn't produce the food to feed my family. We have a poor soil fertility here. But that black gold, that manure that I put back into the ground, and over the last 10 years, I've been using the wool of the sheep as well. And this year, for the first time, I've been using seaweed as a mix within my wool and my manure. Oh my God, it's one of the best things that I've ever used. So I want to wean myself off, artificial fertilizer. I want to use more natural ways to produce my food and add value to that to sell to people. Because if we take that power back to ourselves as farmers and connect directly to the consumer, the customer, and start to sell then, well, it leaves out the big people, the supermarkets that are making a fortune, pushing prices down. Then they start to ask questions, how do we adapt to this? Because they don't care. As long as the shares are coming in and the profits are coming in for their hedge funds out in Barbados while they drink their pina coladas, they don't care if a farmer's swinging at the end of the rope on the other side because he couldn't pay his bills.
Mm.
That's the reality of the situation. And we have to address it because a lot of consumers and customers don't really understand the pressure that's on the industry every single day. So, I'm trying to take this into, our mainstream platforms as in TikTok and in Facebook and trying to share other people's stories that don't really have my platform. So when they come to me with a problem, I ask them to do a little video. Let's share it. Let's get it out there. You tell people how you're feeling about it. And they feel good over it because they get an opportunity to share their story with other people. And then the consumer might ask a supermarket when they're there buying, a pint of milk, which is cheaper than water. They might ask the question, is the farmer getting a fair price for
Mm.
what they're producing? And that's what the bottom line is. We have to make a living. We have to pay our bills. We're like everybody else. And we have to feed people. So it's a balance, to get that affordable, sustainable, environmentally friendly food onto shelves or into people's kitchens every single day. And it's a fine line. It's a very fine line.
Will you help me understand a little bit more about the finances of a farmer in Wales? So in the U.S., there are ways that you can send your animal to be processed, but then collect it back and sell it directly, either through a membership program or just retail through your farm, which works well, especially in areas where the farms are integrated into places with a lot of people. Are you able to do that in Wales? I know there's a lot of countries where all the meat just has to go straight into sort of the commodity market.
The problem for us is we have 10 million sheep in Wales, 3 million people.
Mm.
So there's a
It's a
lot
little off balance there.
long lamb to eat. Yeah, so I tend to send some for myself and family and friends. Don't do it on a commercial basis. We have 4,000 ewes on our farm in the partnership, so it's a lot of lambs to sell. So we sell some through the market, which they call stores, which are lambs that are nearly ready, and then they go on to lower land where they finish them off. We sell some as well because we've got some lowland lamb. We sell some directly to abattoirs as well. It all depends on the market price and where we could, because you have to be an affordable business. You can't just live off the so-called grants that they gave us. So we're subsidised. The majority of upland farms, I think it's about 60 or 65% of the income comes from a subsidy, which, for me, I'd much rather be getting a fair price for what I'm producing. So in the future, that's what I want to look at. I want to look at adding value to that product, like bringing it into a regenerative world, into a grass-fed world where, very little concentrates and very little artificial fertilizers are used, and selling in it directly somehow to the consumer, to the customer. At this moment in time, I don't have a lot of time to do things like that now, because with social media, television work I do as well, and we do immersive tours here. So we had immersive tours here for 9 years now. So people from all over the world come and spend time. So tomorrow morning I'll have 28 Americans from Rick Steves here. And then on Monday, I'll have 23 Americans from Rick Steves. Then Oat Travel, two tours on Tuesday, and then another two tours on Thursday, and then again Saturday and Monday again. So they're about an hour and a half out of my time, but that's an hour and a half that I've got to make up somewhere else. So it's getting up early to make sure that everything's done so I can put the time. But the reality of it, I can make more money on one tour than I can profit wise for the whole week on the farm. Now
Mm.
there's something wrong there. I've been fortunate that I've been able to utilize what I've got, and I'm quite good at sharing stories and what we do, and that I learned many, many years ago, that I can add value to that. I can add value to myself as something for the farm, so that we can see a future for my three children here. And how I want to adapt that is, maybe one of them to come onto the farm, and maybe another one to do the tours with me, and then maybe another one to run my social media sites. So it's adapting that and making sure there's a financial benefit for them as well. I can't expect them to come here and work for nothing. They have to have a fair price, and both my sons have been working away on really good money, so I can't expect them to come home and work for peanuts. I cannot do that. So it's making sure that I'm giving them a fair price, giving them a fair wage, but making sure that they're understanding that there is a legacy here. There's an opportunity for all of them, as long as they want to be part of that legacy and that history of 375 years, without putting too much pressure on them, by the way.
Yeah, right. um, Anything else you want to add? You can definitely drop the names of where people can find you on YouTube and TikTok, and we'll include all of those links.
Yeah, so literally it's Gareth Wyn Jones, and if you put that into anything, it'll come up on YouTube, it'll come up on TikTok, it'll come up on Facebook. And I just want to thank people for being so supportive over the last 15 years in my career, through the television work. I don't do as much now for the BBC. I'm not sure why, but there's things that I really enjoy about sharing stories. But I've had new opportunities through new platforms, and I just want to thank everybody, and thank you as well for this opportunity. I want to share our story. I want to get people back eating healthy seasonally, tasting that first new potato out of the ground, that first strawberry, the first tomato. When you're eating them strawberries in December and tomato, they taste of nothing. I had tomato soup dinner time. Everything was off the farm, and it was banging. The cream came from a friend of mine down the road who, delivers his milk here twice, 3 times a week. Everything I'm trying to do is got a story behind it. And follow a farmer, find a farmer, make a little bit of, background work yourself to find where your food comes from. And I think that's important for us all, because if we want to go forward in a positive way as mankind, we have to be kind. We have to be kind to each other and stop this polarization from the vegans to the vegetarians to, the meat eaters. We're all on this earth and we can all share it, but we have to be kind to each other. And we have to understand that everything, as a farmer, we will be producing, something will die. nothing will come on that plate without a cost to something. So that would be, my message to people is follow a farmer. If it's not me, follow another farmer, and have an understanding that these people are going to be in your life every single day as long as you want it. If you want us there, we are here for you. Don't give that opportunity to the big corporations. Don't let us slide away under bureaucracy and government policies. Keep fighting the fight, because we can do this together. So a farming food revolution is needed worldwide.
Wonderful. Well put. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it very much. Gareth Wyn Jones, everyone, give him a follow on TikTok if that's your platform. Definitely check out his videos on YouTube, where you can actually see, because a lot of them are filmed right in the pasture with the sheep or cattle, and it's just fabulous to look at. So thank you again for your time.
Diolch yn fawr iawn.
If you're looking for a guide to help you get your diet back on track, to help you feel your very best, and to learn more about meat's role in a healthy and sustainable and ethical food system, then I highly recommend you take my Sustainivore course. I've condensed all of my knowledge in human nutrition and agriculture and have made it accessible to everyone in 8 easy modules. There are quizzes, tips, and motivational emails to keep you on your journey. It also comes with a free cookbook and other great bonuses. So eat for your health, the planet, and your values. Head to sustainivore.com today and check it out. Hey everyone, Diana here. I wanted to let you know that after many years and over 1 million downloads of the Sustainable Dish podcast, I've decided it's time to direct my attention to other projects, including the Global Food Justice Alliance. It's been a true honor to interview so many important leaders in the health and agricultural fields, and I've loved every minute of it. So October 31st, 2023 will be the last episode. Thank you so much for all of my dedicated listeners out there, for your attention, your time. Thank you to Emily, my podcast editor, and to James Connolly, my co-host. Be sure to follow me at Global Food Justice and also at Sustainable Dish. You can get my newsletters, help contribute to the mission that I'm working on to make sure that all people have access to nutrient-dense animal source foods. Thank you. Thanks so much for listening today and for following my work. If you believe in making sure people all over the world should have access to nutritious food, please join my mission through my nonprofit, the Global Food Justice Alliance. Visit sustainabledish.com/join and become a sustaining member today. All sustaining members get free downloads, and you'll be helping get healthy protein like meat, fish, and eggs to food insecure kids. That's sustainabledish.com/join. And thank you.